Welcome to The World Today. I'm Waqas Majeed Khan. Today we have a very special show for you. There's a conference taking place in Islamabad called the Women's Parliamentarian Caucus, and we have a number of people from 12 countries, but we have 4 of them in our studios today, and we'd like to talk to them about what the Women's Parliamentarian Caucus is all about and what is the work that they're doing. So let's get the conversation started. I'd like to introduce our guests in the studio. First of all, we have Mara Marez from Romania. And then we have Dr. Isa Khashashna from Jordan. And then we have Amy Amalia Fatma Surya from Indonesia. And we have Dr. Parvana Salahuri from Iran. I hope I said the names right.
Yeah, all right.
Truly.
Well, how are you today? Is it your first visit to Pakistan?
Yes, it is my first visit to Pakistan, and I'm really happy to be here. I've had the most warm welcome, and we're all having, I believe, a very pleasant stay. And the conference has been very fruitful so far, very prolific. The talks have revolved around the role of women parliamentarians in strengthening democracy and social justice. And we've had a very open and free talks about subjects revolving around the role of women parliamentarians. We've talked about non-discrimination on the basis of gender. We have talked about the role of women in the media. Quite a wide range of talks, and I believe tomorrow we're going to reach a resolution that will comprise of all of our conclusions and thoughts.
Well, more power to you. Dr. Isa, how come you're part of the Women's Parliamentarian Caucus? I was quite surprised to see you here. So why is it that we're not having a woman from Jordan?
First of all, I would like to thank you for this meeting. The second, I would like to come to Pakistan, and basically I have been graduated from Pakistan, King Edward Medical College in 1986. So I love Pakistan as my homeland, Jordan. This first. Second, I came among with the team of 2 parliaments, females, that to support them how to deal with how to talk or how to be with the communications with the other parliaments of women. Basically, I am full supporting females in doing politics in parliament.
Well, that's a wonderful initiative. I think women do need the support of men all over the world.
Sure.
For them to reach their goals of equality, which I think is a very important thing. So that's wonderful.
Sure.
Well, let's talk to you now. Amy, what's the work that you're doing in Indonesia, and how do you find this visit to Pakistan?
Yeah, I think in Indonesia we are now building our democratic system. And what we do here, this conference is very important to bring a new idea that I can implement there. And because of we are now rearranging our election law, and also we are struggling for women participations there. So more women in the parliament, and we can provide better regulation and better policies to protect women and children in Indonesia.
Well, that's also a wonderful initiative.
Yes.
Well, let's get Dr. Parvana's views on this. You're from Iran, and do you think that the women in Iran are facing more or less the same issues and problems that they do all over the world?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salam. I say salam to all Pakistani people. Mere behno aur bhaiyon ko idhar salam bhejti hu. You know, we have come here to promote and empower women. We want to talk about their empowerment and their barriers. As you know, we Muslim countries, we have the same conditions, especially Pakistan and Iran. They have a very similar culture. I am very thankful from the hospitality which we see here, the members of parliament, people, you, all the people which we have seen here. And इधर तो बहुत अच्छा लगे मुझे को मेरे को दूसरे बार है पाकिस्तान आती हूँ एक बार 30 साल पहले मैं आई थी अभी 30 साल के बाद आती हूँ I hope that we can do something for women all around the world, especially women who are living in Asia.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mara something, that since you're from Europe and we have a perception that women in the West are quite emancipated and they have equal rights, so what did you find in common coming to Pakistan and interacting with all these ladies from Muslim countries? Do you think that there's a difference in the kind of issues that women in Europe face or in the West face compared to those on the eastern side of the planet?
Surely, in Europe, we have made continuous efforts to improve the condition of women and to try to reach that ideal equality. But surely, I don't think that has been fully achieved yet. So I wouldn't say we lack any problems regarding discrimination against women. No, we don't, unfortunately. And we still have to work on that. And we are working on that. And actually, one of the fundamental principles of the European Union is equality of opportunity and equality of treatment for women and men. So we're still striving.
Long way from there?
Yes, we're not a long way from there. I think we're fairly close, but we're not quite there yet. And that obviously means that there's space for improvement, and we're struggling to do that. And I think many of the problems are common, surely. Perhaps
The intensity
of the problem is
different.
different, but the problems are perhaps common. And what I was actually also talking today about is the importance of a financial independence of a woman, for her to be able to achieve that freedom that she deserves, she from every country and every continent.
I think Iceland is the only country which has now decided to make equal pay for men and women. At least I was reading that on Facebook. Maybe it's not true.
Equal pay for equal work is a fundamental principle of the European Union, and it is stipulated by the law, including in Romania. You cannot pay a woman less than you pay a man for the same amount of work. But obviously there are still sectors in the whole world that are occupied in great part by men, and they're paid more than those segments that are occupied in greater part by women. And I think these differences have to be amended and have to be resolved. But no, the legislation in my country at least stipulates that you cannot pay a woman less than you pay a man.
One of the problems that we see in our part of the world is that there are many laws that are on the books, but unfortunately those laws are never implemented in their true spirit. So do you think that that is an issue that that is also common in, let's say, in Jordan or in Indonesia or Iran? But I'd like to start with Dr. Isa.
Actually, in Jordan, we are since 1989 the first parliament, which I know about that. The women is started from that parliament, and there is a law allowing them to be enter the parliament as a member of parliament. I think in that 1989 it was about 8 women was present till this last parliament, which it is now is running on. It's about 20 out of 130 member of parliament. Our law is allowing, rather, they are supporting women. They have some quota for the women as well. They have one. Each province should be having one females among the elected.
Members of parliament.
Members of parliament.
Right.
One among all province. We have about 13 province, and they have got 7 more as elective with, legal procedures according not for equal due to the quota, but equal for the law is allowing them to be entered as the male.
Right, so they're giving you an opportunity to compete with men in the electoral process. So that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
All right.
We are consider the woman as the sister of men.
Right, absolutely. Amy, it's in your opinion, or rather in your country, is this also an issue that we have laws, but those laws are not implemented properly? Is that a problem?
We cannot say that the law not implemented properly, but the law already forced a political party 30% women to be a candidate on general election. But the 30% only until the candidate list. And in the field, we must free fight with men, which is women potentially lose on that fighting to get votes from people. Because disability of financial from women, and also Indonesia has geological difficulties for women, such as because we are archipelago countries and lots of mountains there, which is hard transportation to reach. It is also a factor why participation of women parliamentarians in Indonesia is still low. We try to reach 30%, but until now, we cannot say we are succeed to reach that, because last period we got 18% women in the parliament, and this period it is decreased to 17%. We lost 1% women in the parliament. But in the middle of our service period, it is possible that there is a change because of some replacement. Since the women elected was 97 women in the parliament, now after 2.5 years we have 103 women in the parliament, even though still far from our target, because we need, if we have 560 members in the parliament, then we need around 200 women in the parliament.
What about the participation of women in the electoral process? Are the women in Indonesia more or less politically aware than men? Or?
Yes, of course, because we have so many cultures in Indonesia, with some of them they don't let women to participate in politics, or to work, or to study, or to get a high education. I think almost same in some other countries.
Right. Parwana, what about Iran? Do you think you'd agree with what Amy is saying about the situation in Indonesia? Do you think there's common ground there? Or do you think that the women in Iran have more emancipation, especially have a lot more political awareness, as they say?
You know, I am a member of parliament as well as I am a sociologist. Sometimes I see from a sociologist's viewpoint, you know, it is very important for me. I believe that we have to improve civil society and promote it. In my country, civil society, most of the women are educated, even higher education. They have more than 60% has got higher education. Many doctors, entrepreneurs, engineers are women, and they are working. At one side, we have got this. At the other side, we have the laws, the government, the politics, and the things like this. They are going together, but I think our civil society is a little bit ahead of that. There are laws, and we implement them also, but we need more laws to empower and improve women's situation in Iran. And the other thing which I think I have to mention here, and this is very important for me, in this conference which we have, most of the women, they were talking about economical empowerment of women. I think that there is a mutual relationship between psychological empowerment and economical, political empowerment and economical. We cannot see from one approach, one view of point. We have to see as a holistic view that the situation of women depends on many factors, especially psychological one, because if they believe, you know, believing is a psychological process. If you believe in change, if you believe in that you can change your situation, it is very important. We have got many women who thought that they cannot do anything. They cannot even move. After they could find themselves, after that, they got empowered in economics, they have been empowered in politics. So these conferences, such we have seen in Pakistan, you know, I know and you know that here it's a patriotic community like Iran. بعد آب دکتی हो که سا इधर خواتین कॉन्फ्रेंस में बनाती हो इतना वर्क करती हो सबको मेरे को तो इतना अच्छा लगे कितना पावरफुल है ये
Not only that, Parvana, one of the main things we have in Pakistan is a huge rural workforce which is based on women. So you have men and women working together side by side in the fields where they're picking cotton or where they're sowing the wheat crop and so on and so forth. But we don't see that much women participation in jobs in cities in Pakistan. Do you think that is also true for Iran, or do you think that that's
in
not
Iran
the fact?
it's not so. In
Okay.
Iran we have got, especially in public work, the number of women is much less than men. But in private work, you can see many women who are working as much as men, and they are so powerful, especially in economical areas. We have many university professors. I can say that at least
Academia
30
is one of the most common fields where you see women excelling
yeah.
all over the world.
No,
I think
in
that's true.
health also process many doctors.
Right.
Too much.
So health
They
and
may be
education are the
equal
two
to men.
sectors where we have
But
a large presence
the
of women.
shortage which we have in our country, it is about political participation. The number of women who are active in political participation are much less than men. And I think one of the difficulties is that we don't risk, we women ourselves, we cannot take that risk of involving in political activities. And it will be solved, I think, in the future.
Well, more power to Iranian women, I would say. Well, okay, let's come back to Mara. Mara, what are your experiences working in the parliament in Romania? And what kind of a participation do women have in Romania when it comes to political awareness or even standing up for social causes, for that matter?
Again, not bad, but not ideal either. The percentage of women in parliament is also not very high, somewhere around 15%, which is obviously not enough. And on this occasion, I would like to urge as many women as possible to get involved in politics, because they can
An ideal
do the
situation
same
would
job
have
as men.
50-50 would be the best possible outcome, wouldn't
50-50,
it?
yes. Well, I don't necessarily believe in quotas, because they don't also necessarily ensure quality of the democratic act, of the legislation.
But we're talking about equality here, so...
We're talking about equality, yes, yes. But what I believe is most important is, first of all, to become involved and to raise awareness and have the courage to speak out about women's problems. Have the courage to say, okay, I, as a woman, I am dissatisfied because I believe that in this particular field, I am not treated equally as a man would be treated. I myself have experienced that. In my electoral campaign, I felt that many times I was treated much worse by the media just because I was a woman and I was not a man. Not just because I'm a young person, that also contributed as well. But here we're talking about something completely different. And I believe we should have the courage to speak out and say, I'm experiencing this problem, and I believe it's due to the fact that I'm a woman. I don't think it should be taboo to talk about sexual harassment. I don't think it should be taboo to talk about the ways that women are discriminated against just because of their gender. And on this occasion, I would like to salute and to congratulate the Pakistani government that's making efforts in this perspective. I believe that you have recently passed laws in order to protect women and violence against women, which I think is extraordinary, and it is a model for other countries that are maybe perhaps experiencing the same problems as you are, but still not taking measures. So I think that's wonderful, and I'm very happy that Women's Parliamentary Caucus has organized this conference and has given the occasion to other women to express their beliefs and to draw conclusions that comprise of everyone's issues, and perhaps after the conference, we can all go home and, after having learned something new, and attempt in our own states to implement public policies that will empower women more and more in that holistic perspective that my colleague here from Iran was talking about. I think it is important indeed to understand the whole problem and not just parts of it.
Well, Dr. Issa, tell us about the situation of women in Jordan. Do you think that they are more emancipated? Do you think that they work side by side, shoulder to shoulder with men in various fields in Jordan? Or do you think that women's participation in public life is really leaves a lot to be desired?
Actually, I would like to tell you this. At this time, the women is going up and up in Jordan gradually, as equal to the men for in the parliament as well. Now we can talk about the number. Number is about 25% now in the number of parliament's members, as compared before it was about 5% or so. I mean, how they act is good. They are discussing laws inside the parliament under the dome of the parliament space, and they are good inspectors for the government and the ministers as well. Dealing with parliaments, I mean the job of parliaments as regarding men, it's not. I can't tell you as much as the men is as the men, the women as the men, but in the way to be, we have some. Majority of the women in the members of parliament have got good impression, good, I mean, how to discuss with the laws and the others better than men as well. I'm telling you about myself. I am a doctor. I am away from politics, basically. So I was in the, Brigadier General in Army after my graduation for the medical fields. After that, I have built myself how to deal with the politics, and I have stand for the election, and I won in my area, as compared with the women's. Women now, if you can consider as women as the men, for me, and the politics, don't have anything about the politics as well. But I become now involving in the politics. I have got a good knowledge about the politics. It's increasing from about 20% to 30 and 40, and now I can reach about 70% of how to deal with the politics side view. Let us go back to the women. Women, suppose they are teachers, suppose they are doing in some other jobs in the country, same as level. How they will build their self, how to learn good politics, how to study. A majority of them they are study law in the universities for basically. So they are good for, act how to deal with under the dome of dome of the parliament on the politics side of view. So the woman is going up and up, and now before if they are going to stand for the election, about few women is stand out for the election. But now they are rush much as male.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share a nice, interesting fact with you. We have an organization which rather takes stock of the performance of parliamentarians in Pakistan. It's called FAFN. And according to them, they released a report which stated that the performance of all women parliamentarians across Pakistan in the provincial as well as National Assembly was far better than the men. So that's a very interesting fact.
Sure.
That's what we found out. Do you think that is also the case in Iran or in Indonesia? Or do you think that the performance of the women in parliament is also not as much as the men?
Not really. I think nowadays the quality of women parliamentarians has improved very positively. Because I think besides women are smart, they're also working with heart. So less they work because of interest, especially political interest. They bring mission from their region. They want to be useful for society. They still bring these dreams, I think, than what men do in the parliaments. I think that's.
Okay, we'll come to Parvana, but we need to take a short break over here. So we're going to take a short break and we'll return with the conversation. So take a short break, don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're in conversation with the leaders from 4 different countries, Romania, Jordan, Indonesia and Iran. And when we left, we were about to speak to Dr. Parvana and find out what's happening in Iran vis-a-vis the rights of women. And we were talking about the role that women play in parliament and how does that translate into action rather for the betterment of women as a whole in Iran. Do you think that the women in Iran have really done much for women in general?
If you allow me first, Mubarak to Holi ke din ko today is Holi and
yes,
it's
happy Holi to
yeah,
everyone
happy
who
Holi.
celebrates.
Congratulations to all Pakistanis, Indians. It is a very beautiful festival and it brings happiness. Then I'll come to your question. Actually, when we were talking, I was thinking that in the parliament also, we women, we think as mothers. You know, mother is the symbol of sacrifice. We want to do everything for our children, for our family. I think in the parliament also we are doing the same. We think that we are responsible for all our members of community, all the people of our country, and not even our country, all the people in the world, we are responsible for them. But how much we are effective, it is another question. How we can change it into action, it is very important. Actually in Iran, and nowadays we are having our 6th planning program for development. And we have passed a law that there should be gender justice in all fields of society, especially regarding social opportunities which women need in working fields and having resources, is equal resources. It is very important to have equal opportunities and to have equal resources. Another thing which we have passed, and I think is very important, and we lack regarding that, it is about promoting women in public organizations and even private organizations. There is that we say glass ceiling, that there is a glass ceiling for women which they cannot grow up to higher administrations. And we passed it just a month ago, and we hope that we can do it and change it into action.
Well, on a lighter note, do you think that there's an old adage that says that women are their own worst enemies? So do you think that that's because is that a reason why the glass ceiling exists and you're unable to shatter it?
In sociology, we talk about power, and that people who take power, who can have power, are not too much. How many ministers do you have? How many members of parliament you can have? Very shortage in this matter. So everyone wants to reach at that goal. And this opportunity for women is much less than. So when the opportunity is less, you try to get that opportunity first. But I think we have come to a common understanding that if that position is there, it's better a woman takes that position, and we try to reach that goal.
Well, I hope that works out. Mara, what's your opinion? Do you think that women have a lot of problems also in Romania when it comes to participation in the public sector and also when it comes to participation in parliament itself? Do you think that the role is curtailed or is it welcomed within the parliamentary sphere?
It is welcome, but we still do not have enough women involved in politics, and I wish there were more, because the policies that come from women are also quality ones, and I think they stem from a different viewpoint than the ones of
they definitely
men.
Should be kinder.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just saying today, perhaps because women are more empathic than the policies that they legislate are.
But do you also feel
different.
that women do also try to put hurdles in other women's way when they see them making progress? Do you think there's that jealousy element that plays also in not supporting other women in trying to achieve their goals?
You know what they say, women don't vote for women. I don't know if that's true. I've had quite a lot of women voting for me, but I believe it is very important for women to have a collective voice in order to encourage other women to become involved, to become aware. And I'm not sure if that's a myth or it's a reality. I wouldn't know myself, but it is definitely important for women to stick together and have a single voice when it comes to speaking out about problems regarding women.
Well, I think that's absolutely true, but we'll also have Dr. Issa's perspective on this. Do you think that the role of men is also not sufficient when it comes to supporting and standing by women to achieve their equal rights or whatever injustice they do face in society across the world?
Actually, in our society, it depends upon the, location. And not all the country the same. Some location have good support for the men, and some of them is equal to the men and the women, but the majority of them, they are support men more than women. But this time, they are increasing more and more toward the equality of justice. Before, they face much problem, the females facing much problem in some areas, especially in the rural areas and away from the centers of the
What advice would you give to men in general when it comes to dealing with women?
I beg your pardon?
I mean, what advice would you like to give to men all over the world when it comes to treating women equally or giving them their due rights? What would you like to say to men? What's your message?
They need training. How to make men toward good thinking about the women to be on their sides and the political side of view. And I think in the future it will become more and more better than this.
You were saying something, Mara?
The gentleman here was saying how to get women to be on men's side, and I said, or in front of them, perhaps.
Well, I guess we'll leave it at
Hopefully.
that because we're completely out of time. But thank you very much for taking out the
Thank
time
you.
and being on the show.
But the
Thank you.
important thing is
Yes, Amy.
democracy without women is not democracy at all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I
There's
agree
no
with you.
doubt.
I agree with you. What's the woman? Woman is our sisters, our mothers, and their wives. So
Yeah,
so
James
they
Brown said
should
it very
be in the
nicely. You know, he
company.
said
And
that it is a
cultural
man's
as well.
world,
To
but it
increase
would
the
be nothing
cultural
without a
well
woman.
should be.
I have to say that in this democracy, we need men's help. The men should help women to reach this equality. It is very important,
Sure.
and we demand that help from men who believe in women.
Inshallah,
Inshallah.
we shall
Thank
see
you.
that day come soon. Well, thank you very much once again.
You
Thank
are
you.
most
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and the message is the same, that women are equal partners with men in life, and therefore men also must support them, their daughters, their wives, their mothers, their sisters, and therefore make a just society. And on that note, it's goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.